Progressive overload is a simple concept for massive gains, and you won't reach your muscle building potential without it. Your muscles grow in response to training stimulus, so if your muscles are going to grow and continue to grow, you need to continue in a pattern of progressively making demands from them. When we introduce stress onto our muscles, our body is forced to adapt by building new muscles. It does this in order to prepare for any possibility that you'll have to handle the same stress again in the future. If we fail to increase that stress, however, our body will fall under the impression that it doesn't need to prepare for another challenge and therefore doesn't need to repair and grow. But if we continue to add stress, we'll be forced to adapt and grow over time. And that is the promise of progressive overload muscle growth. In this video, we'll go over how to achieve progressive overload, as well as provide examples on how to implement this into your own training. Let's get into it. Number 1. Increase resistance. If you're going to build muscle, one way to do so is lift more weight. You can't expect to walk into the gym every Monday morning, put the same amount of weight on the bench press and grow. The same weight is going to keep your muscles the same size because they aren't being challenged to adapt to a heavier load. But when you put them to the test by increasing the amount of weight on the bar, they'll grow in order to meet the anticipation that you'll lift that load again. Say this week you perform 185 lb bench press for 3 sets of 8 reps in order to implement an increased resistance to progressively overload the next time you go to the gym. Perform a 195 lb bench press. Your amount of repetitions may decrease, but eventually you'll get 195 pounds up to 8 reps too. Number 2. Increase reps. You don't necessarily need to add weight to your lifts in order to build muscle. Actually, a good first step to building more muscle through progressive overload is to increase the number of reps you do. If you feel like you can crank out 10 reps of a certain weight, why stop at 8? Now, unlike increasing the amount of weight you lift, you have to put a ceiling on this one. Say you get to a point where you can complete 20 reps of a 225 lb deadlift. Then you should increase the weight instead of trying to set a goal of 30 reps for the same weight. In fact, you should have increased the weight a long time ago at that point. When you can do 12 to 15 reps comfortably, you don't need to try to get to 20 reps, just increase the weight. Say this week you perform 185 lb bench press for 3 sets of 8 reps. In order to implement increased reps to achieve progressive overload, the next time you go to the gym perform 3 sets of 10 reps of the same weight. It's easier to set rep ranges depending on the movement. For example, since a deadlift is more demanding on the body, you can work in the 6 to 8 rep range and each week you focus on adding reps until you get to 8 reps for all sets. At that point you would then increase the weight and start at 6 reps again. For accessory movements or single joint movements, you can work in the 8 to 12 reps range and start on rep 8 for week 1 and focus on increasing the reps until you go to 12 reps on week 5. Then just increase the weight and go back down to 8 reps. Number 3. Do more sets. The volume concept in progressive overload considers your entire workout. Volume is simply sets multiplied by reps multiplied by resistance. So the idea here is that even the slightest changes to your workload will have a major impact on the results of your workouts. I recommend increasing your total sets to a certain point rather than trying to increase your total reps all the time, because when it comes to bulking up fast, heavier weights will have a greater effect on what you are trying to achieve. Say your Monday workout is a push workout. In total, you've got 15 sets in your entire session. In order to implement increased volume to reach progressive overload, you could add one more set of the bench press than you normally do. So instead of performing 3 sets of 8 reps, you would do 3 sets of 8 reps and then try for a 4th set. Hey, maybe you get all 8 reps, or you might only get 5. Either way, you've increased your workload. Number 4. Decrease rest time between sets. I think of all the regressive overload techniques on this list, decreasing rest time in between sets is probably the most challenging one. You'd be surprised how much of a difference 15 to 30 seconds can make in between heavy compound movements, but this technique is an excellent way to stimulate muscle growth. Not to mention it'll shave a good 10 minutes off your workout as well. Your goal here is to complete the same workload, but in less time, which will train your body to become more efficient in your gym sessions. Let's say your Monday workout typically takes you 45 minutes to complete. Cut down your rest time by 15 to 30 seconds on each exercise. You'll notice your lifts being a little more challenging than the typical Monday, but that's exactly the goal. New stress in the gym will always translate into new growth, and progressive overload is the best technique you can implement to make massive muscle gains. Implement one of these strategies the next time you head to the gym. If you found this video helpful, make sure you give this video a thumbs up as it will help out the channel. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe for more videos and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next one.